Welcome to edith finch. What remains of edith finch. جو تبان مليحة، شفت آراء بوزيتيف عليها بزاف، سماسير تكون مليحة عندها باش نتميزا فيه. الإصدار وما على باليش بيها ولا غتحكي. finch. لازم نتفوق.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
déjà بدينا. اوكي نورمال لعبة
I
بالطفل.
lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
ما بالطفل اللي يكتشف سر العائلة تاعو. العائلة هذه كانت ساكنة قالك في البلاصة هذه من سنوات والله من عصور. هذه اسمها What Remains of Edith Finch. العائلة هذه بالك كاينة أصلا في الصح.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Not trespassing.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know, or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back. No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
غزالة. نظهر لعبة مليح يبان كيما شغل بلير ويتش، بوكو بليس بلير ويتش.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
هو تاني بالك كان عايش في المنزل هذا كي كان.
But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
ايه شغل الهاوس برك هذا اللي المنزل هذا تاع العائلة تاعهم هو اللي يقدر يجاوب على الأسئلة هذي. شغل فيه أسرار لازم نكتشفهم.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
يعني حلم بيه.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
في عمره دركا 17. ندخل.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
هي دركا نورمال في عمره 17. خلهم كي كنت في عمري 11 كانت تجيني سهلة ندخل منه. اللي هو هذا الباب الصغير تاع القطط عندهم هما في الغروب.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
كي راحو ما زادش شعل الدروس ما بقاو ما يشعلش.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one. Like how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
رجعت هي كانت عندها مقطع.
Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot. The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
عجبتني الجو مختلفة على اللي جو الآخرين.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
ما يتحلش أنا.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive. Edie told me once that every finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library. A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
اوكي طلعوا للطاج اللي فوق.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
شوف تجي هذا الساعة. مزال نروحو من السام أنا. شوف الطاج هذا السنة باش نزيدو نطلعو بلاصة أخرى.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
إذا ما كان سري هذا وقيلا.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door.
غرفة سرية.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead. I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Wow.
I kept eating and eating.
What? تاكل في الدونتيفريس وداك السماط.
lot of things that night. Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
واو الجو فريدة من نوعها صراحة.
And suddenly, I was a cat.
What? بدات قطة.
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Okay. تبع
I jumped and I almost got her.
حابة تاكلو. وين راه؟
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
rabbits. ذبحها. Nice. ما شاء الله. عديتها.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
حوس على حاجة كبيرة
A mama rabbit.
باش نشبح.
She was almost too big to carry. I started
Too big to
choking,
carry.
but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
What؟ تحولت الحيوانات كامل هذي. حرك في روحي بالك باش نوصل للماء. Shit.
I rolled off a cliff and
Okay.
into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
hungrier than ever. جوعان بزاف معاك.
I wanted fat, juicy seeds. I tore off her flipper and it tasted really good.
ما جبتهاش الدكتور.
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
لا هيك شو.
Now I was a monster and I smelled people everywhere.
That's a snake.
I was big, but I moved real quiet. I wanted to stop her, but also I didn't.
زي القبطان ولا هذاك مزرعون.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
زالجيانا.
I got closer and closer. all my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
رجعنا بالطفل اللي بدينا به. هذه كانت كتبسها.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
شكون هادي ولا صوت سقطة.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
سمعت صوت قطالة.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
فينش العائلة هذه.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Oh. دراوسي حجرات مسخربية. فيلا الله يبارك.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
There is a secret in this.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
سكرت لهم تانك نعمرة بالأسرار.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
هذاك هادو ولاد جدو ولا وقال يا اخي grandpa never speak والله ما عرف كيف never speak about his two.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did.
وش لازم ندير؟
At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam, Calvin, dinner's ready.
Better to people.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made it sign to fly. And he did.
Calvin. ماشي كله كالفن أنا.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was
It's
younger,
nice.
I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
اوكي هاي مكتوبة 1900 شحال 1950 1961 خلق في 50 ومات في 61 نورمالمون بسبق يقولوا لها أرجوحة عليك والله. بون نحبسو لهنا بزاف اتسناف نكملو في البارتي الجاية ان شاء الله.